Hello, everybody. This is the 41st call of the Amazon Investor Coalition. This is a call and podcast series dedicated to advancing forest-friendly economic development across the Amazon region of South America. This week, we are featuring the work of Fernanda Stefani. I'm going to go ahead and put everybody on mute except for me and Fernanda. Fernanda has been developing 100% Amazonia for the past 11 years. She has some extraordinary experiences, and she definitely fits the bill on many fronts for advancing forest-friendly economic development across the Amazon region. Fernanda, let's go ahead and jump into it. Tell us a little bit about your life before 100% Amazonia. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Well, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and share a little bit of my story and my journey in the Amazon for the last 16 years. I am Brazilian born of Italian parents. So I grew up in this kind of Brazilian Italian environment. I have a graduation, I'm graduated in economics. And I have to say that I learned to love Brazil when I was living outside Brazil. Because when we are here, there is this national sport of Brazilians. We love to talk about Brazil. So during my time to the university, I studied at the University of São Paulo, on Faculdade de Economia e Administração, FEA. It's kind of famous university. So I had the opportunity to study there and then move my graduation to Austria. So I spent 8 years in Europe, so finalizing my university studies. And that was the time that I learned how to love Brazil, because you need to be away to have a bigger glimpse on Brazil and see what we missed. Basically, this is what happened to me. And when I came back, so I was there in the 90s. I'm 52 years old. So I was in the 90s in Europe. So I was able to see a lot of changes. I came back before the Euro came. And I went back to Brazil. I went back to São Paulo the first time, stayed there for a moment, worked in different industries, especially because I was speaking German. I could speak German because of my graduation in Austria. And then I ended up here for a series of reasons. First, because I'm very, very curious. I was working at that time in 2002, 2004. I was working in a trading company, and I was doing business intelligence. So I was a trader to the sense. So I was trading different foodstuffs, and I ended up getting an information about acai, about some quotes, and I didn't even know what acai was about. That was back to 2004. And I started studying at that time. There was actually very little about it. There was basically one company, still very small, called Sambazon, very, very small, having lots of problems with their supply chain at that time. But there was a company here in Belém doing acai in ready-to-drink boxes, how do you say, Tetra Pak boxes. So I started working with them in the next years. So I learned a lot about acai during that time until 2006, when I got an invitation by a company called Monavi, who was at that time exploding their sales on acai, but having a huge difficulty on getting acai direct from the source. So basically, I am a São Paulo born person, of Italian origin, and ended up here in the Amazon, and very happy about it.
I want to go to one particular moment we spoke about when we were previously on the phone together. You were on a plane flight, I think, from Belém to Sao Paulo, and you met somebody.
Yes. Yeah, it's really funny. I was in one of my research. I was going. I remember the first time I was in Belém. We still had Varig at that time, and I remember very well. We paid 2,600 reais for a ticket. 2005, basically 2006. And I was visiting that company I was working for. It was a company called Fly Açaí. And when I was coming back with not so good news, because the company was having difficulties in understanding the requirements of the international markets, I was already studying other supply possibilities, and I was coming back from Belém to São Paulo. And then these two big, tall Americans, they came in. I was reading my açaí book. At that time, the Embrapa has just released a new seedling called BRS Pará. For those who know, it was the first seedling that was launched to the market for purchase, for plantations, or, who wanted to do some agricultural activities with açaí. And I was reading my book inside the plane. These two Americans, they came, they sat near me. They start talking to me, yeah. So, and they asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I trade with açaí because I was studying açaí at that time. They had opened their eyes like, wow, arregalados. People know, I don't know how to say this in English, but, and they said, well, really, that's nice. We are from Manavi. I said, oh, you're from Manavi. Interesting. I know you very well. And then they were even more surprised because they said, well, nobody knows us here. Why do you know us? And of course, I said, well, I know you because you are my benchmark. You are what we should have done here in Brazil. We have this wonderful açaí. We have great ideas on how açaí can be done, but we didn't do anything. So that was basically the start of a conversation that lasted about 5 hours. It was almost like an interview. That was two people. One was the COO of Manavi, and the other one was the senior vice president for product development. And they were having huge difficulties in supplying açaí directly from the Amazon. They were buying açaí from Ceará, which is a nearby state. And I said, well, I can help you. And we did some calculation. They gave us the price, what they would be. They were paying açaí, and they gave me a volume idea. It was about 400 tons of açaí they would be buying. I said, okay, if you buy directly from here, I did some calculations. So you will save $300,000. And of course, then like 1 month after that, I had the job.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, anyway, and this is really how it started. I changed my life completely. I would never expect that. It's like, I don't know, when you have opportunities in your life, you are studying, you are doing your best to find the things that can work and how it works, and you know exactly where to get, and you have the answer at your tongue, na ponta da língua, I don't know.
Yeah, the tip of your tongue.
A tip of your tongue, exactly. And this is how it worked. So I moved here in 2006. That was in August, and I never left anymore. There is the saying in Portuguese, we say, veio para o Pará, so you came to Pará, parou, you stopped. And you ate açaí, ficou. Veio para o Pará, parou, comeu açaí, ficou. That is the story of my life. Well, it means basically you came to the Amazon, you came to Pará, you stopped, you ate açaí, you never left anymore. And this is really the story of my life up to now. And of course, during the time I was here, it was basically 3 years working directly in establishing a supply chain that was adequate for that moment specifically, which is very different from now. We have a completely different background in terms of açaí supply chains. I was able to see how to do business in the Amazon and how not to do. That's good when you work for other people, because you learn from their mistakes. Of course, we still have mistakes, but you know, the bigger mistakes were made by other people or not, of course. So I think the story of Monavi was extremely successful. We were able to dispatch almost 20,000 tons of acai during the period I was working with them. It was, people would call me the queen of acai at that time, because it was by far nobody was buying that much. But it was difficult to establish the first companies, because they were either, to my sense, they would not really accept, many of them, when I come as a Brazilian, I'm from Sao Paulo, I'm a woman, and you say, you don't know how to do acai, how can we trust you? I said, well, I don't know. I may not be the person that will process acai, but I know how to sell acai. So that is basically the difference. So I know what the requirements are for foods processing, for foods defense. Today's, of course, we have an FDA that is much more selective than, you know, like 14 years ago. But anyway, we were able to work with companies here who actually grew a lot. One of the companies we selected at that time is today one of the largest companies in the acai business. They have offices in at least 4 continents. And to us, it was a huge learning. But when I left, and that's the difference, I saw a company working only with acai. And we cannot do any type of, we cannot avoid deforestation if you're working with only one forest product. And acai today, we have different ways of dealing with acai. We have the native, we call it acai extrativista, which is the native, the wild harvested acai. You have now large monocultures, plantations. And then you have the agroforestry system. And then you have people working like Derek, who is here, working in regenerative agriculture, which is fine, but it's still very small. But it's a good answer, but still very small. So we need to grow that. So there's many ways. And I see that acai now has established as definitely fruit source supply. It's a new category. The acai bowls have created a new category here in Brazil as an acai sorbet, different ways, not the best in terms of health, but in other countries like US, Australia, Japan, UK, it's definitely this new category of a healthy food. And it goes for the Lohas people, lifestyle of health and sustainability is exactly what they're looking for. So what to do?
Tell us about the financial crisis, what it did to Monavi, and then what inspired the creation of 100% Amazonia.
Yeah, well, the financial crisis, that was the foreclosure in 2008. We had purchased at that was 2008. We had purchased in June about 6,000 tons of acai. And then we started selling the initial volumes, boarding the initial volumes in August. And by October, we had the foreclosure crisis, and Monavi was growing at a 20% rate per month. It was incredible. We had to review our purchase volumes every 3 months. But at that time, we had 6,000 tons. And in October, well, I don't know if you're familiar with Monavi. Monavi was a multi-level marketing company who was based on a series of beverages with the core fruit was the acai. And they had at least 4 different bottles with acai. One was the classic. You had one called Nuit, which had inositol or something like that inside. Exactly. It was a company who made millions who grew a lot. They were in the Inc. 500s. And we purchased 6,000 tons of acai. And then 2 months later, we paid already. 2 or 3 months later, we started dispatching the acai. We had the foreclosure. The problem was they had 2 very large distribution channels, one in California, one in Florida, which was were the 2 most affected states in terms of income. So from a company who was like this, they did like this. And people stopped the auto ship, which is a very common feature for this type of business. And suddenly they had at that time 6,000 tons hanging for the next 2 years. And of course, the council, the people in the US, they decided to change a little bit. Of course, I basically said, well, I purchased acai for the next 2 years. So what should I do here? And they tried to put me, they were opening at that time a Monavi in Brazil. So they had this operation here as well. And then I said, I don't know if I want to go back to Sao Paulo to work in the background. It's not my thing. And then we left. Now we decided to, okay, go separate ways. And instead of coming back to Brazil, to Sao Paulo, I said, I need some time. I was working like crazy the last 3 years. I had no vacation whatsoever. I was working directly. It was really my passion. I did it because I loved, and because it was an immense source of education for me to be here, to be able to do different ways, to learn things, to learn the Amazon as few people were able to, and someone was paying for me to do that. So it was perfect. And I got so much education on that I decided after we left, and it was January 2009, we decided to open a company called 100% Amazonia, because everything I saw in the last 3 years was basically all about acai and with the rest. So 100% Amazonia is my response and my partner's response. Joe, she is here. She is here working while I'm talking to you. And so we decided to show the Amazon as a source of so many different things. But of course, from 2009 until 2012, many things have changed. So the acai has increased. It has consolidated its role as an Amazonian source. We had, from 2009 until here, we have had much more acai available in the market, I can say, without any not very precise, but we had at least 25 new facilities here, and at least 17 or 18 new facilities creating new supply chains from other places in the Amazon. So we have Pará as the main source, but today you can extract acai from Rondônia, from Acre, from Amazonas in different areas. You have new supply chains also being delivered. We have the Amazonas state starting a very, very nice education project about acai, and yeah, so many things.
Can you tell us about some of the other products besides acai that you guys sell, and then who produces them?
Yeah, well, we have, in the first years of, we are actually up to date, we are a trading company. So we started selling acai in the most traditional way, which is frozen puree. And then we moved to do different things out of acai, not only the acai pulp or puree, but we also sell acai milled roots There are some people in Hawaii, they buy it. We sell other products made from acai, but aside from acai, we also sell oils and butters from 16 different oil seeds from the Amazon. And also another bunch of products like guarana, camu camu. Well, in total, what we have now is a portfolio of 50 products from 25 different species. And in terms of products, we have frozen pulps, we have powders, we have extracts, we have oils, we have butters, and we soon will have also essential oils. So yeah, so
Great.
could be more, but you need to find the supply chain. And
Are some of your suppliers indigenous communities? Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yes. Our supply chain as a trading company, we understand that we have a supply chain that is a community. It's the first stage is the community. Then we buy from this community. It could be an association, could be a co-op, it could be a group of people that are not linked to any type of association. It's just like a village, and they get together to supply specific raw material to us. We send to what we call the productive aggregator. Sometimes we have one, sometimes we have two, and then it comes us. We are the integrator, and then we dispatch this to the export. So we export. So it depends. Sometimes, depending on the product, I buy directly from a manufacturing site. And then this manufacturing site can be from a co-op or just like a business, just as manufacturing, normal manufacturing. But what we have mainly as the normal, so to say, is that we develop the community. So we develop new supply chains.
Great. Tell us a little bit about the buyers. How many countries do you guys ship to, and what are the profiles of those buying these resources externally?
Well, the mission of our company is not sometimes, I don't think so many people see, but it's starting to see more and more now because of, the urgency of the moment. But the mission of our company is to use, as we say, our tagline, we are a trade network for forest conservation. That's why we say we have this network, we have supply chains, we have a group of stakeholders in all areas. Could be an NGO, it could be a group of concerned citizens, it could be also a co-op, but we start from the very beginning, and our end normally is one, it's a business to business market. We ship mainly ingredients. So who are buying from us are mainly cosmetics companies who are looking more and more for the origin, for traceability. They want to know who we buy from. They want to see the whole, they want to look back and see, okay, where it comes from. We also have companies like food companies who are looking to integrate more Amazonian ingredients into their formulations. And then we have also companies like marketing companies who want to sell products that we have in their own brands. So we do branded products as well, so private labels. Yeah, these are the main things. Sometimes, when I say cosmetic companies, it could be like an artisanal soap maker in the US. Doesn't need to be big. Can be a small. We have a very small company, not so small. I mean, it's called Rainforest Chica, and she's doing a great job. She's 3 years ago, no more. She's one of my oldest customers. And she takes really the message of the Amazonian oils. She gives courses. Is a Brazilian girl that lives in Florida, and very nice, very nice. We have her, and then we have companies to the size of Lush, for instance. We also have a supply chain agreed with Firmenich. I don't know if you guys know, Firmenich is one of the largest flavor houses. So today we buy all their Copaiba they use. So we go in different ways. We have started that. This is the second year we're doing. It's working very well. And then we started with Copaiba, now we're going other ways too with them. And yeah, it's very nice. Having customers who are partners, it's much easier for us to show what we have and what we do.
I'm going to ask just a couple more questions, and I'm going to open it up for other people. So those who have questions, feel free to indicate your interest in the chat or raise your hand or come off video. So Fernando, last two questions for you. How many countries do you ship to? And then tell us a little bit about whether or not you need export permits for some of the more exotic.
Well, we have achieved more than 60 countries today in our 11 years, and it's increasing. Huh? Okay, in July, Joe said, well, it's almost 12. Okay, so we have today more than we shipped samples up to 66 countries, but more regular, not only sample shipments, but also sales, really like real sales to 60 countries. We have almost places like Madagascar. We have shipped Andiroba to Madagascar, for instance.
Wow.
We have shipped to Guam. We have shipped to Egypt. Let's say the traditional countries, of course. Europe, France is a big buyer. UK is a big buyer, Australia is a big buyer, US is a big buyer, from different things.
And tell us a little bit about the permits process.
Well, in our case, we are selling ingredients, so it's different than selling a retail product. Retail products have different permits depending on the formulation. You also need permits by Anvisa. In our case, our products are registered with the Ministry of Agriculture, which is an easier way. It's much easier than Anvisa. Anvisa is more formulated products. So we have in some countries like Russia, like China, we need to issue phytosanitary certifications. So this is made at the border when the product is already delivered to the airport or to the port. So the Ministry of Agriculture will go there, check the products, say yes or say no, but normally they say yes, and the cargo moves. It depends on the country, like Dubai, by the way, the Arabs seem to love acai because Dubai is buying like crazy acai at this moment. I never saw that. I was last year was in a hotel and they had acai in the room service. Not even here again, acai in room service. But anyway, you do have some countries like Dubai, you need to get some special requirements here. By the Anvisa, some type of certificate of free sales and so. And we had only one time we shipped a product that was freshly made, milled by the inflorescence of acai. I had to get imports permit in the US because it was seen as a fresh seed. But other than that, it's quite simple, at least for us. I don't think it's problematic, no.
Great. Okay, first up is Marina.
Oops. Hi, Fernanda. My name is Marina Campos. I work for Conexus, but now Conexus USA. You probably have heard about the work of Conexus in Brazil.
Yes.
I am amazed with your story. And apparently when I left the Amazon, you arrived in the Amazon. So it's too bad we haven't met that way. I have several questions and I'd like to be able to have a meeting with you at some other point. But now I just would like to ask you, what are your main, bottlenecks for you to do your job and to grow your organization? I mean, it is, and where do you want to go? Do you think, are you betting in exports more than the domestic markets? How do you see these two things? I don't know if you saw recently a Brazilian professor from NYU that works in the Amazonia 2030 with Beto has published a document that says that the market of the global market for forest products in general is about, I forgot, but I think it's about $30 billion or something really large. And Brazil only participates in this market with 0.2%.
Yeah, I read that. That's a Salo, no?
Yes, exactly. So are you looking more to export, or are you looking more to the domestic market? And what are your main bottlenecks?
Well, there's two answers here. One, I read the study, and I think he was mainly talking about products that are already in the market. I think he has not even touched what is behind. There's much, much more products behind that are not yet either discovered or developed commercially. I would say there's a much bigger market. This is the market we intend to explore. I don't want to explore pepper. I don't want to explore commercially products that you can grow anywhere else. I think there is much more than that, but I understand. Salo has talked to me, and actually they are doing a study where they are going soon to publish. They are going to publish the business of the bioeconomy. But going back to your question, initial question, well, I am a trader. And I know that people especially in the US and in Europe and the more developed world, they have been much more sensitive to the cause in the Amazon than us Brazilians. So what people know, what Brazilians know, I am talking 12 years ago. So today is different. But when we started the company, what Brazilians know about the Amazon is, well, this is the green carpet that we fly over when I go to Miami. This is what people know. And I can say, because it was not different with me. So when I came here in 2004, the first time, I didn't know what to expect. You know, we do not, there are so different Brazils. We say vários Brasis. There are many different Brasis within Brazil, within this continental huge country we call Brazil. There's many different. And Brazil, from the Amazon, the Amazonian, the Brazilian Amazon is completely unknown, even to the people who live here. Because you come to Belém, people are looking to go to São Paulo. We're in São Paulo. I know that. I grew in São Paulo. I wanted to go to Europe. And then you go to Europe, you go to France, you go to Holland, they all want to come to the Amazon. And this happens. We have already 4 people from Holland here working with us, and that even for free, because they wanted to have the experience. So it's like, you know, the neighbor's lawn is always greener, right? So that's the idea. But basically, we understand that starting the business, we have to start with something that we can scale quickly, which is the sale of ingredients. When I make a finished product, I require so much marketing capital and time that it's difficult to roll out this so quickly. So we decided to work with ingredients because we thought, okay, I have this Buriti oil, for instance. I know this Buriti pulp has 4 times more carotenoids than carrots. Maybe I go to Copetone or San Filtro and say, okay, I have this. This is great. This is Amazonic, and this is traditionally used by the fishermen when they're under the sun and they use the Buriti oil. I think you can do something with that. So that was originally our idea, and it proved right. So Brazil is starting to see the Amazon now in the last 3 years, and especially because the government is helping us a lot.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Maria. I think you're
Hello.
on.
Yes. Do you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Fernanda. Thank you very much. It's really interesting. My name is Maria Belen, and I work for the ASL program, the Amazon Sustainable Landscape Program. That is a program that is being developed and implemented in Colombia and Peru and in Brazil. It's a regional program, and it's being led by the World Bank. And my question is, it's a little bit to get to know, because we work with the government. I would like to know, how do you capacity build the communities where you buy from in order to make them more competitive to the international market? Because that's a very important thing for them to develop their abilities in order to make them more competitive. Thank you.
Yeah, this is actually one of the biggest challenges we have. Jonah was asking me about the problems we have. This is one of them. When we want to scale, we have to go to larger companies. When we go to larger companies, regardless if it's a food company or if it's a cosmetics company, the requirements, the quality requirements, they grow. The same big size, the bigger the size, you want to go to L'Oreal, requirements like this. You want to go to Nestle, requirements are like this. And you are actually introducing two different worlds. How do they will interact with each other? So sometimes we have a program called Ariamuru, and this is how we try to connect them. The Ariamuru program is a program where we do the communication and the supply chain. So it grows, the program grows with our purchasing department, but it's basically the relationship, how we create, how we nurture the relationship with the companies, with the co-ops. Today we have about 40 communities and co-ops and communities, and we call it PCTAFs, Povos e Comunidades Tradicionais e Agricultura Familiar. So it could be a quilombola community, it could be, again, a co-op, it could be different ways. But we do diagnosis. We go a couple of times per year. Now it's a little bit difficult because we are not allowed to go anywhere, but we try to understand how they are at different levels of parameters, like infrastructure, level of community, how they interact as a community. We talk about, I don't know how you speak this in English, regulação fundiária, which is like
Land regularization.
Land tenure.
Yes, land tenure. Yes, exactly. We saw this, and then of course it is really a dialogue. We start using the protocols that are normally used for traditional populations. How do you say, like interactions? And based on the initial diagnosis, we make how we call this? Sorry, my English, that is maybe not so good. We make a diagnóstico participativo, this is participative diagnosis. So this is made with them. So we are able to see what they are looking for and how far they are to get this, what they are looking for. So we go in different communities. I can give you an example. We have done this with the Guaraná community, de Alto Urupadi, which is a new association. Yeah, participatory assessment. Jessica said that is, thank you. This is the right, yeah. And of course, we don't do this by ourselves because we don't have much people working with this. Normally we have an NGO doing this, or sometimes like in Maués, we have the UFAM. This is the Federal University of the Amazonas working with us. So it is wonderful. It works wonderfully when everybody sits at the table and everybody speaks what we expect from each other. So it goes. And then we create the engagement with the community. And of course, sometimes it normally goes well, but sometimes not so well. But we try to find a way not only to communicate, and today WhatsApp works wonderfully in the middle of nowhere. We get people from Terra do Meio who knows, it's very difficult to work with them. We have the supplies of Copaíba from Terra do Meio. This is a good example. But basically, this is what we do. We try to pass them the requirements of the companies, and then we see how far they go. And actually what we're doing now is we saw that it's not really possible to build large volumes from the communities. We need to have something in between. And this is why we're building a facility, because the supply chain as we have now, we have what we call the productive aggregator. These productive aggregators in Brazil, they do not have the mindset for the forests, for forest preservation and forest conservation. When you talk about acai producers, they don't even understand that acai grows wild. They just go at the riverbank. They put their I'm talking the big ones. They put their trucks there, and they will get the acai that comes by. They buy from the people, from the atravessadores. Not all atravessadores are bad. This is, the atravessador, the middleman is a very important role that we have in the Amazon. So we need actually not to avoid them, but we need to teach them. I think this is mainly the difference. So you have to insert the middleman. You have the good ones and the bad ones. Maybe the bad ones you buy a little bit, but you have to handle him because historically he is involved in that. So we are now building this facility because we understand that the requirements that come from the big companies will never be able to be reached in the communities, even those who have already received grants from the government. I have visited almost every large co-op in the Amazon. We try to make either business or what we call business arrangements with larger companies. There is this mindset problem here. And we are actually transforming ourselves from integrators to productive aggregators. So we won't have them anymore. That's why we're building the factory of the forest, because we will be able to make purees, but we will be able to make oils and butters as well. And we have studied each one of the supply chains we have and realized that we can pay more to them. And yeah.
Great. Thank you. Fiona, you're up next.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing. So the core that I was looking at, you've somewhat explained, but when we look at the finance and the microfinance structures behind the supply chain and the communities and the leaders and the women and the herbalists in those communities, how are you able to rebuild or restructure now a system that can support them? And then secondly, how can we scale that to also utilize any of that experience you have into other Amazonian countries? Thank you.
That's nice. I'd love to. I'd love to create 100% Mata Atlântica, 100% Amazonia, Peru. And There's many possibilities. The way we are not a large company. We don't have much people here. So we're now 20 people here working directly in our office. With the facility, we'll have this year about 20 more people, but maximum coming to 35. So we understand we are a trades network. So the idea is to integrate all these other stakeholders. We have NGOs, foundations. So they use their people to interact with us at the very end or at the very beginning of the supply chain. Like we see here in this nice supply chain that we were able to build along with AFAO. So with microcredits, we are not going directly to the Guaraná producer, but we are going up to AFAO. We're going to Azaga. Azaga is also it's a new, it's an association in the Apuí. I don't know if someone knows them. They have been supported by IDESAM to a part. And I talked to Hayuton the other day and they say, oh, there is this huge company here from Sao Paulo coming and they are destroying our supply chain and so there. This issue we hear up and then also our every 2-3 years we hear the same thing. And they say we need money to build a cantina here. So this is basically an advanced post on a specific place where there's going to be someone accepting and receiving all the copaíbas from there. So this we can help up to the co-ops. And we have one mission here is to build one co-op per year. So we are now, this year, we are helping a new co-op to be born in the region of Cametá. This is a completely new supply chain. They have cupuaçu falling. They have pracaxi falling from the trees. They don't even know pracaxi. Pracaxi is a wonderful seed. You can do a wonderful oil. So in terms of microcredit, this is what we can do now. We can come up to these partners. In that case, it would be AFAO. Connexus is a good example too. I think they're perfect for that because they do a lot of with information and data bank. But this, how do you say? When you go inside and you need capillarity, you say that? Capilaridade? So you need capillarity, you need to involve the people who are locally situated.
Fernanda, just a clarifying question. Is your facility a processing facility? Is it a storage facility for logistics? What kind of facility are you guys building and for what kind of products?
We remember I said at the beginning, we are here to make the forest standing. So this is our main mission. So it doesn't matter what we process as long as we're able to cope with that. So my initial dream and my initial proposal was to build a 4-module facility, and every module we will be processing different products or different ingredients. So this year we will be inaugurating 2 modules. One module is the fruit processing facility. This is more expensive. We have 3 robots. We are aligned with Amazonia 4.0. We have 170 control devices in the supply in the processing line. We have built a type of plug and play. We are building, actually, it's not finished. We are building a plug and play facility for that. So we can process not only acai, but mainly acai in form of pulp and puree, concentrated puree. We can also process extracts. We have purchased equipment to do clarification on the juices. This is a little bit more aligned to the juice companies for them. We also are inaugurating the 2nd module, which is 2 main equipments. mainly the expeller, the press to do oils and to do butters. So we will be receiving, we are already buying seeds. The seeds is a good example. When you go to a company, like a large company, they want the oils to specification that is very low in acidity and oh, I forgot the name now. Acidase, peroxidase and peroxidone. And they barely know that. They barely can get that because of the way they've been handling also the seeds. So we had to do this. And the second equipment we'll have is a distillator. So we'll be processing essential oils as well. So the idea is that these two modules, they interact with each other because some things we can process in the first line. And I'll use the second line to do, it's basically interaction. And then the third and fourth modules is going to be a dryer. So a large dryer. Yeah, the powders are growing a lot here. Now I have to use an integrator to do this.
Great. We have about 5 minutes left for the call. Are there any other people who would like to ask questions? Feel free to just come off mute. I have one, Fernanda. You guys are interested in expanding. What kinds of investment are you searching for? Debt or equity or something else?
We have a debt now that it was a project made that we were able to get finance for the facility. But that was, we entered with this project in 2019. And by the time we received the money, we had COVID. So of course, the money we had projected before we would be saving, we would be building, is not enough for us to finish the facility. So we need two types of money. We need one, which is I need to update the economics for finishing the facility, which is mainly the aggregates, because the main equipment is purchased. This is going to be around, let me see in dollars, about, fiz a conta errada aqui, peraí. I'll talk in reais. We will need about 2 million reais to finish the facility. And we also need, because our volumes now with the facility, we're going to sell to the Brazilian market. So this is going to have, we have projected an increase today for 2021 of 70% in terms of faturamento, how do you say that? Income. Yeah, so our income last year, we had an income increase of 50% in COVID time. So I have to say we were very lucky. We are in the right way. And this year we are projecting 70% income in sales income, because we are going to go for the Brazilian market. So our strategy this year is mainly to show ourselves to the Brazilian market. People know us already as suppliers of açaí in this market for açaí, but people do not know us in the cosmetics in Brazil. And I have seen a big increase in terms of cosmetics being launched to the market with Brazilian oils. So we have the strategy where we're going to present ourselves into the market in September. And we have last week, we have hired a company called Future Brand, maybe you know. They are going to do a brand repositioning, because people know us mainly as, many know us as traders. Now we need to show ourselves as suppliers. And as solution providers maybe. So this is the main thing. So we need 2 million for the economics for finishing the facility. And we are going to need about 4 million reais. I'm talking about reais. As a, como é que fala? Não é fluxo de caixa, é
Cash
giro. Cash flow. Cash flow.
Working capital.
Working capital, yeah. Thank you, Marina. So, of course, we are doing this year in June, we're talking to Citaui. We're going to enter the financiamento coletivo. They are offering us 1 million reais, which helps, of course, but it's we still need to get more. So I think the idea, we are working on our figures in terms of presenting ourselves to investors. We are not finished yet. I am also part of the Winning Women program. I don't know if you are familiar with them. This is from UI.
Ernst
Ernst
and Young.
Young, yeah. So we were chosen. I am participating on that. I have 3 mentors. One of them is Luiz Helena Trajano. She's one of the owners of Magazine Luiza. She has asked me, how much do you need? I want that. So, because she loved the name. And well, anyway, we are preparing ourselves to open our company to equity, but we will probably start with that.
Great.
Yeah.
Can I post your email address?
Yes.
Great. I've posted your email. Normally we go a little bit over, but unfortunately I have a commitment today and I need to use the Zoom room for it. So we're at the top of the hour. Fernanda's email is there. I encourage everyone who would like to follow up with her, please note it down and reach out.
Yeah.
Any final words, anybody?
No, just amazing work. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much for your work, Fernanda. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, if someone wants to call me, please feel
I will, Fernanda. Thank you so
okay,
much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.